that familiar pale light washing over the Earth. But picture this. You're in one of our planet's vast, silent wastelands. Under that same ethereal glow, a chilling question starts to creep in. Is it just reflected sunlight hitting those desolate landscapes? Or could it be something more? What if the moonlight we take for granted, bathing those empty terrains, isn't passive at all? What if it's a sign, a tool for observation, part of some cosmic surveillance system that's been watching humanity for eons? Ancient astronaut theorists? They think this isn't just a spooky story, but a terrifying reality we haven't fully grasped. Tonight, we're stepping into a place where what you thought you knew gets twisted, where the loneliest spots on Earth meet the mysterious face of our moon. For centuries, we've looked up at the moon with wonder. It's woven into our myths, our legends, our science. But there's this persistent alternative idea, pushed by ancient astronaut theorists, that says the moon is way more than just a natural satellite. They're proposing it's a massive puzzle, maybe even artificial, and deeply connected to extraterrestrial eyes on Earth. This isn't just about a few strange lights in the sky or some blurry UFO photos. This theory digs deeper, right into the nature of moonlight itself, especially how it falls on the most remote, untouched places on Earth, the Wastelands. These barren, often forbidding areas, from scorching deserts to icy plains, aren't just empty spaces according to this view. Oh no, they're theaters of observation, stages for an ancient silent watch. The heart of what we're looking into is a pretty startling idea, that the moonlight, especially over these desolate zones, is somehow linked to weird things on the moon and a potential alien presence. Could the moon be hiding secrets, maybe structures, or even active outposts? And could that ghostly glow it casts on our planet's loneliest stretches be targeted, like a focused beam from an ancient watchful eye? We're going to explore the wild theories that try to connect these dots, the eerie moonlight, the desolate wastelands, and the never-ending claims of weird stuff happening on the moon, all pointing to some kind of extraterrestrial plan. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about the moon, and that silent, watchful light it casts over us. Ancient astronaut theorists say the answers have been hiding in plain sight, in the very glow that lights up our darkest nights. Our planet has these huge, desolate landscapes, doesn't it? The searing sands of the Sahara, the dry plains of the Atacama, Siberia's frozen tundra, the salt flats of Uyuni. These are Earth's wastelands. For most people, they just scream harshness, emptiness, raw, untamed nature. But for ancient astronaut theorists, these desolate spots have a special kind of importance, a hidden role in the big story of aliens interacting with Earth. So, why these particular places? Well, those who back these theories have a few ideas. First off, they're isolated. Wastelands, by their very name, don't have many people, if any. Human buzz is minimal. There's not much electromagnetic mess, and the chances of someone accidentally seeing something weird are way down. If some advanced alien intelligence wanted to watch Earth, or even do some quiet work, these remote areas would be like an invisibility cloak. They offer a clean slate, far from our busy prying eyes. Secondly, theorists point to the unique atmospheric conditions you often find in these regions. Deserts, for instance, often have incredibly clear night skies, none of that light pollution we get in cities. This clarity, they argue, wouldn't just be great for us to see the stars, but maybe for something to see us. The thin, dry air in high-altitude deserts or the crisp, clear conditions in polar regions could, theoretically, allow for more precise or unblocked ways of watching from above. And the moonlight itself in these areas, that becomes something to wonder about. Science tells us moonlight is just reflected sunlight, and yeah, its appearance can change because of atmospheric particles, dust, and moisture. But some theorists ask, is there more to it in these specific spots? Is that shimmer over the desert sands, or the stark light on a polar ice field, just physics? Or could the very conditions of wastelands make them especially good for, or even show signs of, the kind of subtle observation these theories are talking about? Ancient astronaut theorists often connect these desolate landscapes to unexplained stuff. Reports of unusual lights, strange sounds, or even supposed encounters sometimes pop up in these remote zones. Could these just be people misinterpreting natural things, made bigger by the loneliness and creepy atmosphere? Or, as theorists suggest, are these wastelands actually hotspots for something beyond what we currently get? These theories often bring up ancient sites and mysterious landmarks that are, maybe coincidentally, maybe not, found in or near such desolate regions. Think about the Nazca lines in Peru, those giant drawings etched into the desert floor. Mainstream archaeology says the Nazca culture made them for rituals or astronomy, but some ancient astronaut theorists suggest they were messages or markers for observers in the sky. The sheer size of these figures, which you can only really appreciate from way up high, fuels this kind of thinking. And other mysterious structures found in remote places around the world sometimes get pulled into this story, presented as possible proof of an ancient, technologically advanced presence that picked these isolated spots for specific reasons. Of course, mainstream science has perfectly good explanations for wastelands. They're products of geology and climate, shaped by wind, water, extreme temperatures, and tectonic shifts over millions of years. Their emptiness is just a natural result of them not being easy places for lots of people to live. The clear skies and deserts? That's because of low humidity and no industrial gunk in the air. There's zero scientific evidence that these areas are special targets for alien observation, or that moonlight acts differently there in any way that known physics can't explain. And yet, the idea of the wasteland as a place of mystery just won't quit within these theories. They're painted as these in-between spaces, like doorways between what we know and what we don't. The silence of these vast areas, broken only by the wind's whisper, makes you think, and for some, it makes you suspicious. If an advanced civilization were watching us, wouldn't these quiet, overlooked corners of our planet be the perfect spots bathed in the moon's mysterious glow? The theorists suggest the wastelands aren't empty. They're patiently waiting, silent witnesses to something that stretches from the moon's surface right down to the ground under our feet, all under that watchful, eerie moonlight. The question is still out there. What, if anything, are they witnessing? Our moon. It's always up there, a constant in Earth's sky, and for ages, it's been a source of fascination and serious scientific study. But in the world of ancient astronaut theory, the moon isn't just some celestial rock. Oh no, it gets an upgrade. It becomes this object of wild speculation, maybe a super powerful artifact of unknown origin, possibly even an artificial construct. These ideas, while mainstream science isn't buying them, are a huge part of the argument for an alien watch over Earth. One of the oldest and most out there theories is the hollow moon theory. People who push this idea say our satellite isn't a solid, natural ball, but actually hollow, or maybe even built by someone. This wild claim often gets tied to how people interpret seismic data from the Apollo missions. Remember when they put seismometers on the moon? Well, those things recorded the impacts of discarded lunar modules and meteorites. Some ancient astronaut theorists love to dramatically say that the moon rang like a bell for a long time after these impacts, which to them suggests a hollow inside that could resonate like that. Mainstream science, though, explains these reverberations by pointing to the moon's dry, fractured crust and lack of water. That combo lets seismic waves travel way farther and longer than they would through Earth's much damper interior. It doesn't mean it's hollow. And there's more fuel for the hollow moon fire, according to its fans, coming from looking at lunar craters. They point out that many big craters, even though they were made by impacts of different energies and sizes, seem to have surprisingly similar, pretty shallow depths. Some theorists argue this just doesn't make sense if the moon were solid all the way through. Instead, they suggest there's a hard, maybe artificial inner shell stopping things from going deeper. Plus, these theorists describe certain craters as being oddly wide and even curved outwards at their impact points, as if they're keeping the moon's round shape instead of making the expected dents. Geologists, however, explain how craters look through complex impact physics, what the surface material is like, and how things change afterward, like slumping and the ground bouncing back. These can account for all sorts of crater shapes and depths on any solid celestial body. The very origin of the moon is another spot where ancient astronaut theorists love to speculate. The leading scientific explanation right now, called the giant impact hypothesis, suggests the moon formed from debris thrown out when a Mars-sized protoplanet, often nicknamed Theia, smashed into the early Earth. While most scientists are on board with this, some ancient astronaut fans highlight that even scientists have sometimes called the scenario really bizarre or a fantastically catastrophic collision because of the massive energies and very specific conditions needed. They jump on descriptions like that to hint that the natural formation story is so crazy it might be covering up a more extraordinary, maybe artificial origin. The moon's size compared to Earth is also brought up as something weird. Our moon is unusually large for its host planet, especially when you look at other planet-moon setups in our solar system. For many years, this actually was a real problem for astronomers trying to figure out how the moon formed. While the giant impact hypothesis now gives us a way to understand this, some theorists still point to the moon's impressive size as a hint that it might not be a naturally captured or formed satellite, but something put there on purpose. And get this, the almost perfect match in apparent size between the sun and the moon as we see them from Earth, which is why we get those spectacular total solar eclipses, is often paraded by these theorists as proof of intelligent design. They argue the chances of such a perfect celestial lineup happening by accident are astronomically small. Astronomers, on the other hand, explain this as a cosmic coincidence. It's just a result of the moon's current distance from Earth and its actual size relative to the sun's actual size and distance. Pretty amazing, sure, but not seen as evidence it was built. All these speculative ideas come together in the notion that the moon might be an artificial construct, a massive ancient space station or observation post, engineered by some advanced alien civilization. This paints the moon not as a product of random cosmic events, but as a deliberate creation, put in orbit around Earth for a specific reason. Some theorists even suggest it could be a giant, sleeping spacecraft. Mainstream science, backed by tons of geological evidence from moon rocks, remote sensing, and seismic data, overwhelmingly supports the moon's natural origin and solid structure. There's no credible scientific proof for claims of it being hollow or artificial. Lunar rocks clearly show signs of natural volcanic processes, and what it's made of fits with the giant impact hypothesis. The features that theorists point to? They're all explained by well-understood geological and physical principles. But even without scientific backup, these theories about the moon's nature and origin keep on kicking in ancient astronaut circles. They're a crucial foundation for the more elaborate claims of alien bases and surveillance. If the moon itself is an artifact, then the idea of it being used by its creators becomes a logical, if speculative, next step. The moon seen this way changes from a silent, cratered observer into a potential key player in a hidden cosmic drama. Beyond just theories about what the moon is, ancient astronaut theorists point to a whole range of supposed lunar anomalies as pretty exciting clues. They suggest our celestial neighbor might not only be artificial but also inhabited or used by alien intelligence. These claims often center on what look like artificial structures, mysterious lights, and alleged cover-ups by space agencies. Maybe some of the most eye-popping claims involve these supposed artificial structures on the moon's surface. People who believe this often cite specific photos and accounts as their proof. For instance, there are claims that Soviet Zond probe photos, specifically from Zond 3, caught images in the Sea of Tranquility region that seem to show artificial spires or obelisks. Some accounts even describe these as looking like Egyptian-style obelisks, with estimates for the tallest of a group of 8 such structures reaching up to 15 stories high. These claims often come with calculations by amateur astronomers or theorists, suggesting that such tall, skinny structures couldn't be natural, especially since the moon's been bombarded by meteors for 4.5 billion years, which, they argue, should have worn down or destroyed any naturally tall features. Mainstream planetary scientists and photo analysts, though, have consistently said that when you can actually verify the images, these features turn out to be natural geological formations, illusions created by light and shadow. That's pareidolia for you, or just glitches from image processing and transmission. No space agency has ever officially recognized or scientifically validated any discoveries of artificial structures, obelisks, or domes on the moon. The moon's surface is full of diverse geology, including mountains, rills, long, narrow depressions, and crater rims, which can, if the lighting is just right, look unusual or even artificial if you don't know what you're looking at. Another type of lunar anomaly people often bring up is transient lunar phenomena, or TLPs. These are short-lived, localized changes in how bright the lunar surface looks, things like flashes of light, reddish glows, or hazy patches. Astronomers have actually reported TLPs for centuries, and most agree they exist, though what exactly causes them is still up for debate. Ancient astronaut theorists sometimes grab onto TLPs as possible evidence of alien activity, maybe reflections from spacecraft, energy bursts from alien bases, or even mining operations. However, the leading scientific explanations for TLPs include outgassing from inside the moon, gases trapped under the surface getting released, meteoroid impacts creating brief flashes, and electrostatic stuff related to the solar wind hitting the surface. While research is ongoing, there's currently no credible scientific evidence linking TLPs to aliens. The story of lunar anomalies often includes accusations of cover-ups by space agencies like NASA. Theorists suggest that proof of alien structures or activity on the moon has been deliberately hidden from us. A common piece of evidence for this supposed secrecy is the Brookings Report, a 1960 study NASA commissioned from the Brookings Institution. Some theorists claim this report recommended that if we ever discovered extraterrestrial life or artifacts, it should be hidden to stop society from freaking out. In reality, the Brookings Report officially proposed studies on the implications of peaceful space activities for human affairs, talked about a whole range of potential impacts of space exploration, including the hypothetical discovery of alien life. While it did consider that such a discovery could be disruptive, it didn't actually recommend a cover-up or hiding evidence. It was more like a cautious what-if exploration. And then you hear claims about former NASA officials or astronauts supposedly admitting there's proof of aliens on the moon. For example, some stories say a former NASA manager stated the agency has proof of ancient alien cities on the moon. But there's no credible, verifiable record of any NASA official in a real position of authority making such a claim with actual evidence. These stories often just float around in conspiracy theory circles without any solid sources. Even parts of the Apollo missions themselves get reinterpreted through this lens. That famous 1202 computer alarm the Apollo 11 crew got during their descent to the moon. Sometimes it's mentioned. Some theorists wonder if this alarm went off because Buzz Aldrin had turned on both the downward-pointing landing radar and a side-looking radar at the same time, supposedly an unusual thing to do unless you were trying to spot and avoid structures sticking up from the moon's surface beyond your immediate landing zone. The official explanation, though, is that the computer was just getting overloaded with tasks, partly because the rendezvous radar, not a side-looking radar for structures, was left on. It was on the checklist, but it added unexpected processing demands. Now, Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell, the sixth person to walk on the moon, did publicly say he strongly believed in extraterrestrial life and visitation. But his statements were based on his personal beliefs and contacts, not on any direct evidence he claimed to have seen on the moon or through NASA during his astronaut days. He said he was 90% sure that many of the thousands of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, recorded since World War II belonged to visitors from other planets. But that was his take on the whole UFO phenomenon, not a specific claim about the moon from his mission. His openness about his beliefs sometimes gets mixed up with official NASA knowledge or specific lunar findings. So, to sum it up, while ancient astronaut theorists present this compelling collection of supposed lunar anomalies, these claims generally don't hold water with the wider scientific community. Explanations involving natural geology, image glitches, known physical phenomena, and misinterpretations of old documents or personal statements usually account for the evidence they show. The moon, as explored and studied by decades of scientific missions, is still considered a natural satellite. A fascinating and complex one for sure, but with no verified signs of past or present alien occupation. The idea of hidden structures and active alien bases. That continues to be a favorite in speculative theories, keeping the mystery alive around our closest celestial neighbor. All right, we've journeyed through those desolate wastelands, we've questioned what our moon really is, and we've looked into claims of strange structures on its surface. Now we get to the heart of it all, the shocking revelation. Ancient astronaut theorists are proposing the idea of a Moonlight Network. This is the theory that tries to pull all these different threads together, suggesting that the moonlight itself, especially when it pours down on the remote wastelands of Earth, isn't just passive, reflected sunlight. No, it's an active part of an alien surveillance system. This is by far the most out there and bold part of the theory. And it's really important to say right off the bat that it has absolutely no basis in current science. Moonlight is, according to everything we know from physics, just sunlight bouncing off the moon's surface. There is zero evidence that it can be tweaked, weaponized, or used to send data in the way these theories imagine. But in the narrative of ancient astronaut theory, this is where the grand plan supposedly clicks into place. According to those who champion this Moonlight Network idea, advanced alien civilizations might have taken over the moon, or even built parts of it, to act as a giant observation deck. The moonlight in this picture isn't just for lighting things up, it's a tool. So, how would a system like this even work, theoretically? Theorists throw out various speculative ideas, often bringing in undiscovered physics or technologies way beyond what we can even dream of right now. One line of thinking suggests that the lunar surface itself, or maybe specific installations on it, perhaps those alleged structures we talked about earlier, could subtly change the reflected sunlight. This change might be impossible for us to see with our naked eyes or current scientific gear, but it could carry information or have specific effects when it hits Earth's environment, or even our own consciousness. The moonlight, then, would be like a carrier wave for a super sophisticated surveillance system, constantly scanning or monitoring what's happening on Earth. Another idea is that the moonlight might interact with Earth's atmosphere or magnetic field in ways we don't understand yet, creating some kind of energy grid or detection system. The desolate wastelands become important here because their unique atmospheric clarity or geomagnetic properties might make them perfect nodes or focal points in this hypothetical network. Maybe these areas allow for clearer signals to be sent or received, or maybe things happening in these locations are especially interesting to the observers. Some theorists even connect this idea to ancient monuments and alignments. Could structures like the Nazca Lines, Stonehenge, or the pyramids, many of which are in or near pretty desolate areas or have clear celestial alignments, be ancient attempts to interact with, respond to, or even try to please these lunar observers? Were ancient cultures somehow aware of this lunar surveillance? And did they build these mysterious markers as a way to communicate or acknowledge it? This view recasts these ancient wonders as parts of a planet-wide conversation with a watchful moon. The shocking part of this theory is what it implies, that humanity has been under constant, subtle, and all-encompassing observation for thousands of years by an intelligence that uses the very symbol of romance and mystery in our night sky as its instrument. It suggests a level of technological skill and patience that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. What would be the point of such a huge and long-lasting surveillance system? Theorists have a few possibilities. Scientific study. Maybe Earth is a unique biological or sociological experiment, and the observers are carefully gathering data on how we develop, our fights, our progress, and what we might become. The wastelands could be control areas or places where they test specific subtle influences. Resource assessment. Earth's resources could be valuable, and the Moonlight Network might be part of a long-term survey, watching for changes and developments related to these resources. Threat monitoring. Perhaps these observers are watching for signs that humanity is becoming a danger to itself or to a bigger cosmic community. The wastelands, often sites of weapons testing or resource grabbing, could be key indicators. Benevolent guardianship or malevolent control. Depending on who you ask, the surveillance could be seen as protective, a gentle hand guiding humanity away from self-destruction, or more darkly, as a form of control or manipulation, keeping humanity in check. It is critical to say again that the Moonlight Network is a purely speculative idea within ancient astronaut theory, with no supporting scientific evidence. Moonlight's properties are well understood, and there's nothing to suggest it works as anything other than reflected sunlight. The interpretations of wastelands and ancient sites in this way are also highly speculative and way off from mainstream archaeology and geology. But the power of this theory is how it weaves together so many different pieces of ancient astronaut lore into one big story. It tries to give a why for the supposed lunar anomalies and a how for the alleged long-term alien interest in Earth. It taps into a deep human feeling, that sense of being watched, the unease that can come with being alone under a bright moon in a desolate place. If, just hypothetically, such a network existed, what would it mean? It would completely redefine our place in the cosmos, changing us from masters of our own planet to subjects in a silent, ancient study. The moonlight, far from being a gentle, passive light, would become an active, maybe even intrusive, presence in our world. The wastelands would no longer be empty, but charged with an unseen importance, critical points in a planet-wide web of observation. This, ancient astronaut theorists suggest, is the truly shocking revelation hidden in the moon's ethereal glow. We've really pushed the boundaries of speculation, haven't we? We've explored theories that repaint our moon as an artificial sentinel, our planet's desolate wastelands as stages for silent observation, and the very moonlight that washes over our world as a potential tool of an ancient alien surveillance. Ancient astronaut theorists have spun this intricate tale connecting supposed lunar anomalies, the mysterious pull of uninhabited landscapes, and that persistent human feeling of being watched by something beyond our grasp. They offer up a moon that isn't just a rock in space, but maybe a hollow construct, an alien base, or even a giant time capsule holding forgotten histories. They point to alleged structures like obelisks and spires, and phenomena like transient lunar phenomena, as hints of something otherworldly, and the core of their most startling claim, that the eerie glow over the wastelands is no accident, but part of a Moonlight Network, an active system of observation. It's so important, though, to ground ourselves in what mainstream science tells us. Right now, there's no verifiable scientific evidence to back up claims that the moon is hollow, artificial, or home to extraterrestrial beings. Lunar seismic data fits with a natural, though geologically different, celestial body. Those alleged artificial structures, overwhelmingly explained as natural formations, image glitches, or tricks of light and shadow. And moonlight? By every scientific measure, it's still just reflected sunlight, its behavior dictated by the laws of physics, with no sign it's part of any surveillance system. Wastelands are products of natural geological and climatic forces, and ancient monuments like the Nazca Lines are understood as incredible achievements of human cultures. And yet the questions these theories bring up, they stick with you, don't they? They tap into that deep-seated human fascination with the unknown and the what-if. The moon, in its silent grandeur, keeps inspiring awe and mystery. The vast empty landscapes of our world do have this undeniable power, making us feel small and thoughtful. When you stand in the deep quiet of a desert night, the sky blazing with stars and the moon casting its silvery light, it's perhaps only natural to wonder if we really are alone. What if, just for a moment, we entertain the chilling possibility these theories present? What if that familiar glow above isn't just lighting up our world, but watching it? When you find yourself in the quiet desolation of a wasteland, under that pale, ancient lunar light, can you ever be totally sure you're truly alone? What secrets might the moon hold, and what might its light truly mean as it sweeps across the silent, empty corners of our Earth? So, what do you believe? Are these lunar mysteries, the eerie emptiness of wastelands, and the constant presence of moonlight just natural things? Or do they hint at something much deeper, something hidden from our everyday understanding? Share your theories, your interpretations, your thoughts in the comments below. We really want to hear what you think about these startling ideas. If you found this dive into the shocking moonlight revelation intriguing, and if you're hungry for more explorations into the unexplained, the mysterious, and the ancient, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the unknown, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the shadows of ancient mysteries and cosmic questions. The dance between the moon and Earth is an ancient one, a source of endless wonder and scientific searching. While science gives us solid explanations for what we see, the human imagination keeps pushing the limits of possibility, asking those unsettling questions about our place in the universe. The theories around the moon, the wastelands, and the very nature of moonlight, as put forward by ancient astronaut theorists. They challenge how we see things and invite us to look at our world and the sky above it with a fresh sense of questioning. Whether they're fact or elaborate fiction, they remind us that the cosmos is vast, and mystery often begins right where knowledge ends. Keep looking up, keep questioning, and keep exploring the unexplained.